It was a super game plan that was excellently executed by Chelsea. Before the game, in the scenario where Chelsea, or pre-game, the scenario where Chelsea stood a chance to win, I spoke about off the ball and how they would have to be very aggressive off the ball. Their pressing strategy will have to be on point, no mistakes. And for me, it worked like that. And what impressed me the most was the concentration level and the attention to detail throughout the 90 minutes. They didn't let it drop. At 3-0 up, you could tell in the first 10 minutes of the second half, PSG just felt like if they got that one goal, it would put some doubt in the minds of Chelsea. But apart from that Dembele chance, PSG really didn't threaten. Chelsea continued, yes, they slightly dropped their defensive line, but they continued to defend very well and still cause a bit more trouble for the PSG defense than the other way around. In fact, Delap could easily have scored a brace. It could have been 5-0, it could have been 6-0. And for me, that's just the beauty of football. The plan was on paper, but it's one thing to have a plan and it's another thing for it to work, and for it to work that perfectly. And for me, Maresca takes all the plaudits, then the players, because the execution was... They were playing players who were against a team who was brimming with confidence. PSG have easily dispatched. They have thrashed and bashed anybody in their way. The midfield have had their field day anytime they play. They are very used to having a certain score line or a certain performance going their way.
Certain comfort level.
Comfort level. But from the blast of the whistle, like literally when the game started, Chelsea very, very aggressive. And I liked before the game, I was wondering why that tactical switch. In fact, he brought in Reece James to midfield, then sent Enzo to number 10 and shifted Palmer to the right-hand side. I was a bit afraid from a pressing point of view because Palmer presses well, but not with aggression. And that's where I felt like if he was on that right-hand side, would he be able to track the runs of Nuno Mendes up and down and give that proper aggression? Because Nuno Mendes is very strong. He very quick, very strong. But the mind behind it was what for me, and obviously you have to let the game progress before you see the idea behind it. That's what worked perfectly for Chelsea. The wide men were doing shadow pressing, man marking. So they will shadow press on the wide areas, but Chelsea were trying to clog the middle as much as possible to prevent PSG from playing through the middle. Because at the end of the day, that's where their build-up strength comes from. If they are not able to penetrate the middle, they have problems dishing it out wide. And Chelsea were able to properly block those mid areas with how they set up, with Enzo and Joao Pedro leading the press, and then a very close back four. In fact, second group of four who rushed in. In fact, it was very, very close. So, and very dynamic and very aggressive. So Chelsea's shape was constantly changing during the press. And the synergy and the communication, because once somebody goes and he's taken away by a PSG player, the space that is vacated, the other person quickly comes.
A good example would be Caicedo and Levi Colwell. Every time Colwell followed Dembele infield, Caicedo would drop. Come and occupy, still make it a back.
And it was. We know that's how PSG have played the entire season. That's free rule number 9, you like to call it. His ability to drop deep, which always gives the PSG an extra free man in whichever hole that he finds himself in. But Chelsea constantly matched it. And again, it's one thing to have the plan, but to execute it 100%, that's where you have to give the plaudits to the players, because it's very difficult. Again, you are playing against an opposition that is brimming with confidence, that's on the top of their game. And I think Chelsea did it excellently. At the end of the game, I was saying, look, FIFA needs to check the Chelsea players for doping, because the intensity level was crazy.